Maya Chen walked through the corridors of New Geneva Academy with her head down, clutching her worn datapad against her chest. The prestigious institution housed the children of diplomats, corporate executives, and military officers from across the Terran Federation. Maya didn't belong to any of these categories. She was there on a scholarship, the daughter of a maintenance worker who had died in a reactor accident on Mars Colony 7. The other students made sure she never forgot her place. As she passed a group of her classmates near the quantum physics lab, their conversation grew deliberately louder. "Did you see Chen's project proposal?" laughed Victoria Ashworth, whose father commanded the Third Fleet. "She wants to redesign plasma rifle cooling systems. As if a scholarship kid could understand military technology. My dad says maintenance workers like her father are the reason equipment fails," added Marcus Sterling, son of Sterling Industries CEO. "Maybe incompetence runs in the family." Maya's fingers tightened around her datapad, but she kept walking. She had learned long ago that responding only made things worse. The truth was, her father had died trying to fix a sabotaged reactor that others had given up on. He had saved 3,000 colonists, but the official report listed it as operator error to protect the company responsible for the faulty design. In advanced xenobiology class, Professor Williams announced the semester's major assignment. Students would work in teams to analyze alien technology recovered from recent diplomatic missions. The class immediately began forming groups, friends gravitating toward friends, leaving Maya alone as always. "Miss Chen," Professor Williams said, noticing her isolation, "you'll work with the Altarian crystal samples we received last week. It's a solo project given the sensitive nature of the material." Maya nodded, grateful to avoid another humiliating team selection process. The Altarian crystals were considered worthless by most researchers. The insectoid Altarians used them in their technology, but human scientists couldn't determine their function. They seemed to respond to emotional states, glowing faintly when handled. But conventional analysis revealed nothing useful. As Maya collected her assignment materials, she overheard Victoria whispering to her friends, "Perfect. Give the weird scholarship girl the junk nobody wants. At least she can't mess up anything important." The laughter that followed echoed in Maya's ears as she made her way to the research lab. The Altarian crystals sat in a containment field, their surface shifting between deep purple and pale blue. Maya had read every available report on them. Human researchers had tried everything: spectral analysis, molecular scanning, even attempts to interface them with Federation technology. Nothing worked, but Maya had an idea that no one else had considered. Her father had taught her that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most elegant. While other researchers focused on the crystal's physical properties, Maya wondered about their apparent emotional sensitivity. What if they weren't just reacting to emotions but actually responding to specific mental states? She spent the next 3 weeks in the lab, often staying long after other students had left. Maya discovered that the crystals responded differently to various emotional inputs. Fear made them pulse with red light. Joy created golden sparkles within their structure. But it was anger that produced the most dramatic effect. When Maya thought about her father's death, about the years of mockery and isolation, the crystals blazed with brilliant white light. More importantly, they began to resonate with nearby technology. Maya's hands shook as she documented her findings. The crystals weren't just decorative or ceremonial objects. They were some kind of biological interface, designed to amplify and focus conscious intent. When properly attuned to human neural patterns, they could enhance the efficiency of any electronic system by orders of magnitude. She ran simulation after simulation, each test confirming her hypothesis. A single crystal could boost a computer's processing power by 300%. A cluster of them could turn a simple communications array into a system capable of instantaneous faster-than-light transmission across the galaxy. But Maya knew that presenting her findings would require more than just data. The academic review board would dismiss anything coming from a scholarship student, especially something that contradicted years of established research. She needed to demonstrate practical applications, real-world proof that couldn't be ignored. Working in secret, Maya began modifying a standard Federation tablet computer. She carefully integrated fragments of Altarian crystal into its processing matrix, using techniques she had learned from studying her father's maintenance manuals. The work was delicate, requiring precision that would make a surgeon envious. When she finally activated the modified device, the results exceeded her wildest expectations. The tablet's computational speed increased by 500%. Its power consumption dropped to nearly zero. Most remarkably, it began displaying information that shouldn't have been accessible, pulling data from secured Federation networks through some kind of quantum entanglement effect. Maya stared at the screen in wonder and terror. She had stumbled onto something that could revolutionize human technology, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. But she was just an 18-year-old scholarship student whom nobody took seriously. As she sat alone in the empty lab, Maya made a decision that would alter the course of her life. She wouldn't present her findings to the academic review board. They would steal her work, give credit to someone more qualified, and leave her with nothing. Instead, she would find another way to prove her worth. The Terran Federation Military Academy had an open application period coming up. Maya had never considered a military career, but she knew that the academy valued practical results over social connections. If she could get accepted, she might have access to resources and opportunities that New Geneva Academy would never provide. But first, she had to survive the remaining months of school, surrounded by people who saw her as nothing more than a laughingstock. Maya looked at the modified tablet glowing softly in her hands, its alien-enhanced circuits humming with barely contained power. She had no idea that her discovery would soon make her the most important person in human space, or that the classmates who mocked her would one day beg for her protection. All she knew was that she had found something extraordinary, and she wasn't going to let anyone take it away from her. The crystals pulsed with warm light, as if responding to her determination. Maya smiled for the first time in months. Her real journey was just beginning. Maya submitted her application to the Terran Federation Military Academy 3 days before the deadline. She had spent weeks crafting her essay, carefully avoiding any mention of her crystal research while highlighting her technical aptitude and her father's service record. The acceptance rate was less than 2%, but Maya had advantages that the admissions board wouldn't recognize until much later. Her modified tablet had evolved during the weeks following her initial breakthrough. The Altarian crystals seemed to learn from her interactions, becoming more responsive and powerful with each use. Maya discovered she could access military recruitment databases, academic records, even psychological profiles of previous applicants. The device provided her with exactly the information she needed to craft a perfect application. While waiting for a response from the academy, Maya endured her final months at New Geneva with growing confidence. Her classmates continued their harassment, unaware that their victim was no longer the helpless scholarship student they remembered. During a particularly cruel incident in the dining hall, Marcus Sterling deliberately spilled hot coffee on Maya's project notes. "Oops," he said with mock concern. "Hope that wasn't anything important." Maya looked up at him calmly, then pulled out her modified tablet. "Actually, I have everything backed up," she said, calling up her files with fluid gestures. The device's response time was instantaneous, its display crisp and bright despite the dim lighting. Victoria Ashworth leaned closer, frowning at the tablet's unusual interface. "What kind of device is that? I've never seen Federation tech that responsive." "I modified it myself," Maya replied simply, making no effort to hide her work. Let them wonder. In a few months, none of their opinions would matter. Word of Maya's unusual tablet spread through the school, generating curiosity and suspicion in equal measure. Professor Williams approached her after class one afternoon, his expression troubled. "Miss Chen, several faculty members have noticed your device. Its capabilities seem to exceed standard Federation specifications by a significant margin. How exactly did you modify it?" Maya had prepared for this question. "I applied principles from my xenobiology research project. The Altarian crystals have properties that conventional analysis missed. I've been exploring practical applications." Professor Williams studied her for a long moment. "I'd like to review your project findings before you submit your final report. Technology that advanced could have significant implications." "Of course, Professor," Maya agreed, knowing she would never share her real discoveries with someone who would inevitably claim credit for her work. She would provide him with enough information to satisfy his curiosity, while protecting her most important secrets. The acceptance letter from the military academy arrived on a Tuesday morning, delivered by secured courier to Maya's dormitory room. Her hands trembled as she opened the official seal, hardly daring to hope. The letter was brief and formal, but the words made her heart race with excitement. Cadet Chen, you have been accepted into the Terran Federation Military Academy, class of 2387. Report to Luna Base 7 on March 15th for orientation and initial training. Congratulations on this outstanding achievement. Maya read the letter 3 times before the reality sank in. She had done it. Against all odds, despite years of mockery and discrimination, she had earned her place among the Federation's elite military candidates. But more than that, she would finally have access to resources that could unlock the full potential of her discoveries. News of Maya's acceptance spread through New Geneva Academy like wildfire. Students who had ignored or tormented her for years suddenly wanted to know how a scholarship student had achieved what many of their well-connected peers could not. The attention was uncomfortable, but Maya endured it with quiet satisfaction. Victoria Ashworth cornered her in the library 2 days before graduation, her usual arrogance replaced by confused frustration. "I don't understand how this happened," she said. "My father put in a recommendation for me. My grades are better than yours. How did you get accepted when I didn't?" Maya looked up from her reading, meeting Victoria's gaze steadily. Maybe they were looking for more than just good connections and inherited privilege. The comment hit its mark. Victoria's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. "You think you're so special now? You're still just a maintenance worker's daughter. You'll wash out in the first month and then you'll have nothing." "Maybe," Maya replied calmly, "but at least I'll have tried." As Victoria stormed away, Maya returned to her studies with renewed focus. She had 2 weeks to prepare for the academy, and she intended to use every moment wisely. Her modified tablet had continued to evolve, developing new capabilities that defied explanation. She could now access real-time data from Federation military networks, monitoring fleet movements and strategic communications as if she were a high-ranking officer. The information she gathered painted a troubling picture. The Federation was facing increasing pressure from alien civilizations that viewed humanity's rapid expansion with growing concern. The Zephyrian Empire had closed several trade routes, citing security concerns. The crystalline beings of the Nexus cluster had refused all diplomatic contact for the past 6 months. Most disturbing of all, long-range sensors were detecting massive fleet movements in unexplored regions of the galaxy. Maya realized that her timing was perfect. The Federation needed every advantage it could get, and her crystal technology could provide capabilities that might determine the outcome of future conflicts. But first, she had to prove herself worthy of trust and responsibility. Graduation day at New Geneva Academy was a subdued affair for Maya. She had no family to attend the ceremony, and her classmates remained distant, despite their newfound curiosity about her military acceptance. She sat alone during the reception, watching as parents congratulated their children and made connections for future opportunities. Professor Williams approached her table, carrying 2 glasses of punch. "Mind if I join you, Miss Chen?" Maya gestured to an empty chair. "Of course, Professor. I wanted to apologize," he said, settling into his seat. "I've reviewed your project more carefully, and I realize I underestimated your capabilities. Your work with the Altarian crystals shows remarkable insight. I should have paid more attention to your potential." "Thank you, Professor. That means a lot." Williams leaned forward, lowering his voice. "I've also heard rumors about your tablet modification. Some of my colleagues believe you've achieved something unprecedented. If that's true, you should be very careful about who you trust with such information." Maya nodded, understanding the warning. "I appreciate your concern. The military can be a dangerous place for someone with unique talents," Williams continued. "But it can also provide opportunities that civilian institutions cannot match. I hope you find what you're looking for at the academy." As the reception wound down, Maya gathered her few belongings and prepared to leave New Geneva Academy forever. She had no regrets about her time there, despite the difficulties she had faced. The experience had taught her valuable lessons about resilience, determination, and the importance of proving herself through actions rather than words. Her modified tablet chimed softly, displaying a message from the military academy's automated systems. Her transport to Luna Base 7 would depart from the Geneva spaceport in 12 hours. Maya smiled, feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation that she hadn't experienced in years. The Laughingstock of New Geneva Academy was about to become something far more dangerous and important than any of her former classmates could imagine. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when humanity's most underestimated citizen was given the tools and training to reach her full potential. Luna Base 7 sprawled across the moon's surface like a metallic spider, its domes and towers reaching toward the star-filled void. Maya pressed her face against the transport shuttle's viewport, marveling at the base's massive size. Hundreds of ships dotted the surrounding landing fields, from sleek fighters to massive dreadnoughts that could carry entire armies between the stars. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper, its advanced dampening systems absorbing the impact perfectly. Maya gathered her single duffel bag and joined the stream of new cadets filing toward the airlock. Most of her fellow passengers looked nervous but excited, chattering about their families' military traditions and their expectations for academy life. Maya remained silent, listening to their conversations with growing understanding. These weren't scholarship students or desperate applicants seeking opportunity. They were the children of admirals, generals, and war heroes, bred for command from birth. She was entering their world as an outsider, just as she had at New Geneva Academy. The difference was that this time, she was prepared. Drill Sergeant Kowalski met the new arrivals in the base's main processing center, his voice echoing off the metallic walls like a weapon. He was a mountain of a man, his uniform crisp and his bearing unmistakably military. Scars covered his hands and neck, souvenirs from battles fought in distant systems. "Welcome to Luna Base 7, maggots," he bellowed, his gaze sweeping across the assembled cadets. "For the next 4 years, this place will be your home, your school, and your personal nightmare. Some of you think you're special because your daddy's an admiral or your mommy commands a battlecruiser. You're wrong. Here, you're nothing until you prove otherwise." His eyes lingered on Maya for a moment, taking in her worn civilian clothes and obvious lack of family connections. "You'll be assigned to barracks, issued equipment, and given your first taste of real military discipline. Anyone who thinks they can't handle it should leave now and save everyone the trouble." No one moved. Maya had expected as much. These cadets had spent their entire lives preparing for this moment. They wouldn't be deterred by harsh words or intimidating posture. The barracks assignment process revealed the Academy's unofficial hierarchy immediately. Cadets with famous parents were grouped together in the newer dormitories, while scholarship students and special cases were relegated to older buildings on the base's periphery. Maya found herself assigned to Delta Block, a converted storage facility that housed the Academy's least prestigious students. Her roommate was Thomas Park, a quiet Asian boy whose parents had died in a transport accident near the Centauri colonies. He greeted Maya with a nervous smile and a barely audible hello before returning to his unpacking. Maya recognized a kindred spirit immediately. "First time away from home?" she asked, settling onto her assigned bunk. Thomas nodded. "I've never been off-planet before. This is all pretty overwhelming." "It gets easier," Maya assured him, though she wasn't entirely certain that was true. "We just have to focus on the training and prove we belong here." Their first weeks at the Academy were a blur of physical conditioning, weapons training, and tactical simulations. Maya excelled at the technical subjects, her modified tablet providing her with insights that impressed even veteran instructors. During a computer systems workshop, she solved programming challenges that typically took students weeks to complete. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Hayes, the Academy's head of tactical analysis, noticed Maya's exceptional performance and requested a private meeting. They met in Hayes' office, a small but efficient space overlooking the base's main training grounds. "Cadet Chen," Hayes began, reviewing Maya's file on her desk terminal, "your aptitude scores are unprecedented. Your tactical simulations show creativity and strategic thinking that we rarely see in first-year students. Where did you learn these skills?" Maya had prepared for this question. "I've always been interested in technology and strategy, Commander. I spent a lot of time studying Federation military history and analyzing famous battles." Hayes studied her carefully. "I've also heard reports about your personal computing device. Several instructors have mentioned that it seems unusually advanced. Could you show it to me?" Maya hesitated for a moment, then pulled out her modified tablet. She activated it carefully, displaying only its most basic functions while keeping its true capabilities hidden. Even so, Hayes's eyes widened at the device's response speed and interface design. "This is remarkable work, Cadet. Did you design the modifications yourself?" "Yes, Commander. I used techniques I learned from studying alien technology samples." Hayes leaned back in her chair, clearly impressed. "I'm going to recommend you for the Advanced Tactical Program. It's normally restricted to 3rd and 4th year students, but your abilities suggest you could handle the coursework. Are you interested?" Maya's heart raced with excitement. The Advanced Tactical Program was the Academy's most elite track, preparing future fleet commanders and strategic planners. Acceptance would put her on a path toward rapid promotion and significant responsibility. "Yes, Commander. I would be honored." "Excellent. Classes begin next week. I should warn you that the other students in the program come from very prominent military families. They may not welcome an outsider joining their ranks." Maya smiled grimly. "I'm used to that, Commander." The Advanced Tactical Program proved to be everything Hayes had promised and more. Maya found herself studying alongside the children of Federation legends, cadets who had been groomed for command since childhood. They possessed advantages she couldn't match: family connections, extensive tutoring, and intimate knowledge of military culture. But Maya had something they lacked: real innovation and an understanding of alien technology that could change the nature of warfare itself. During a fleet simulation exercise, Maya's team faced a scenario that had stumped previous classes for decades. An enemy force had surrounded a Federation colony, using superior numbers and defensive positions to prevent any rescue attempt. Traditional tactics called for a massive frontal assault that would result in enormous casualties. Maya studied the problem differently. Using her modified tablet's enhanced processing power, she analyzed quantum communication patterns and stellar navigation data that other students couldn't access. She discovered that the enemy formation had a critical weakness. Their ships were positioned to take advantage of a nearby star's gravitational field, but this same positioning made them vulnerable to a precisely timed flanking maneuver. Her solution required splitting the Federation fleet and coordinating attacks from multiple vectors simultaneously, using faster-than-light communication to maintain perfect timing. It was a strategy that depended on technology that didn't officially exist. When Maya presented her plan to the class, the other students were skeptical. "That level of coordination is impossible," argued Rebecca Stone, whose mother commanded the 5th Fleet. "Our communication systems don't have that kind of real-time capability." "Actually, they do," Maya replied calmly. "With the right modifications." She demonstrated her technique using the simulation computers, showing how quantum-entangled communication arrays could be enhanced using principles derived from alien technology. The results spoke for themselves. Her strategy achieved complete victory with minimal casualties. The classroom fell silent as the implications sank in. Maya had just solved a problem that had been considered unsolvable, using methods that challenged fundamental assumptions about Federation capabilities. Lieutenant Commander Hayes approached Maya after class, her expression thoughtful and slightly concerned. "Cadet Chen, I need to ask you something important. How exactly did you develop these communication enhancement techniques?" Maya met her gaze steadily. "Through independent research, Commander. I've been studying ways to integrate human and alien technologies." "I see. And have you shared this research with anyone else?" "No, Commander. I wasn't sure if it would be appropriate." Hayes nodded slowly. "I think it's time we arrange for you to speak with some people who might be very interested in your work. The Federation is facing some significant challenges, and innovation like yours could make a crucial difference." As Maya left the classroom, she realized that her time as an anonymous cadet was coming to an end. Her abilities were too significant to remain hidden, and the galaxy was too dangerous for the Federation to ignore any potential advantage. She thought about her former classmates at New Geneva Academy, probably settling into comfortable civilian careers, completely unaware that the girl they had mocked was about to become one of the most important people in human space. The Laughingstock was ready to show the galaxy what she was truly capable of. Admiral Rebecca Morrison was not a woman easily impressed. She had commanded fleets in 3 major conflicts, negotiated peace treaties with hostile alien civilizations, and earned more decorations than most officers collected in their entire careers. When Lieutenant Commander Hayes requested an urgent meeting about a potentially game-changing discovery, Morrison expected another overly enthusiastic report about marginal improvements to existing technology. Maya Chen was not what she had expected. The young cadet sat across from Morrison's desk in the Admiral's private office, her posture respectful but confident, her file made for interesting reading. Scholarship student, no family connections, exceptional academic performance, and tactical innovations that defied conventional wisdom. More intriguingly, she had somehow developed communication technology that surpassed Federation capabilities by orders of magnitude. Cadet Chen, Morrison began, her voice carrying the authority of decades in command. Commander Hayes tells me you've made some remarkable discoveries. I'd like to understand exactly what we're dealing with. Maya had spent days preparing for this moment, knowing that her response would determine her future, and possibly the Federation's fate. She pulled out her modified tablet, no longer bothering to hide its unusual capabilities. Admiral, I've discovered a way to integrate human and alien technologies that creates unprecedented capabilities. This device can process information at speeds that shouldn't be possible, access data through quantum entanglement effects, and enhance any system it interfaces with. Morrison leaned forward, her interest clearly piqued. Demonstrate. Maya activated the tablet's most impressive features, displaying real-time data from Federation intelligence networks, tactical assessments of current threats, and communication intercepts from across the galaxy. The information scrolled past faster than human eyes could follow, but the tablet's enhanced interface made it perfectly comprehensible. This is classified intelligence, Morrison said sharply. How are you accessing these networks? The alien crystals I integrated into the system create quantum entanglement effects that bypass normal security protocols, Maya explained. The device doesn't hack into networks. It exists partially outside conventional space-time, allowing it to access information that's technically available, but normally unreachable. Morrison stared at the tablet in stunned silence. If Maya was telling the truth, she had stumbled onto technology that could revolutionize warfare, communication, and strategic intelligence. But the implications were staggering and potentially dangerous. Where did you learn to do this? The Admiral asked. Maya told her story, the Altarian crystals, her father's death, the years of mockery at New Geneva Academy, and her gradual discovery of the crystal's true potential. Morrison listened without interruption, her expression growing more serious with each revelation. Have you shared this knowledge with anyone else? No, Admiral. I wasn't sure who to trust. Morrison nodded approvingly. Smart. This technology could change the balance of power in the galaxy. In the wrong hands, it could also be catastrophically dangerous. I'm going to have you transferred to a special research division, effective immediately. Your work will be classified at the highest levels. What about my academy training? You'll continue your studies, but under accelerated conditions with access to resources that most students never see. We need to understand the full potential of your discoveries as quickly as possible. The next 6 months transformed Maya's life completely. She was moved to a secure research facility hidden deep within Luna Base 7, working alongside the Federation's most brilliant scientists and engineers. Her modified tablet became the foundation for an entirely new generation of technology. But Maya quickly discovered that the crystal's potential went far beyond enhanced computing. When properly configured, the crystals could amplify human consciousness itself, allowing operators to interface directly with electronic systems and process information at superhuman speeds. Maya became the first successful test subject, learning to merge her thoughts with computer networks and experience data flows as natural sensations. The enhancement came with a price. Extended use left her exhausted and disoriented, forcing the research team to develop careful protocols to prevent permanent damage. But the capabilities were extraordinary. Maya could analyze complex tactical situations in seconds, coordinate multiple fleet operations simultaneously, and detect patterns in enemy behavior that would take conventional analysts weeks to identify. Dr. Elizabeth Santos, the project's lead scientist, monitored Maya's progress with a mixture of excitement and concern. We're essentially creating a new form of human consciousness, she explained during one of their regular sessions. The implications are unprecedented, but so are the risks. We're in uncharted territory. Maya's training continued alongside her research duties, but at an accelerated pace that reflected her unique status. She absorbed tactical theory, strategic planning, xenobiology, and advanced physics at a rate that amazed her instructors. The crystal enhancement allowed her to process and retain information faster than any normal human could manage. Word of Maya's abilities gradually spread through the academy's upper echelons, creating a mixture of curiosity and envy among other students. Rebecca Stone, the admiral's daughter who had doubted Maya's tactical innovations, approached her in the academy's mess hall one evening. "Is it true what they're saying about you?" Rebecca asked, sitting down across from Maya without invitation. "That you've developed some kind of super technology?" Maya looked up from her meal, meeting Rebecca's gaze calmly. "People say a lot of things. Most of it isn't worth listening to. My mother says you're working on classified projects now, that you might be more important than any of us realized." "Your mother is Admiral Stone of the Fifth Fleet," Maya observed. "I'm sure she knows things that most people don't." Rebecca leaned forward, lowering her voice. "I wanted to apologize for how I treated you in class. I didn't understand what you were capable of." Maya considered her response carefully. Rebecca's change in attitude was typical of what she had observed throughout the academy. Students who had ignored or dismissed her now sought her attention, hoping to benefit from her rising status. "Apology accepted," Maya said simply, "but I haven't forgotten who stood by me when I had nothing to offer." The message was clear. Rebecca nodded awkwardly and left, leaving Maya to finish her meal in peace. As her capabilities grew, Maya began receiving briefings on threats that the Federation faced across the galaxy. The situation was more dire than most citizens realized. The Zephyrian Empire had closed its borders completely, massing fleets along the Federation frontier. The crystal beings of the Nexus cluster had begun systematic attacks on human shipping lanes. Most concerning of all, long-range sensors were detecting massive construction projects in unexplored regions, suggesting that unknown civilizations were preparing for large-scale conflicts. Admiral Morrison summoned Maya to a classified briefing 3 days before her second year at the Academy officially began. The meeting took place in a secure conference room deep within the base's command center, attended by the Federation's highest-ranking military leaders. Cadet Chen, Morrison announced to the assembled officers, has developed capabilities that could determine the outcome of future conflicts. Her crystal-enhanced technology allows for real-time coordination of fleet operations across vast distances, strategic analysis beyond conventional human limitations, and intelligence gathering that penetrates enemy security measures. General Marcus Webb, head of Federation Ground Forces, studied Maya with undisguised skepticism. "With respect, Admiral, she's still a second-year cadet. Are we really prepared to trust critical operations to someone with so little experience?" "Experience is important," Morrison agreed, "but innovation can be more valuable. Cadet Chen has already solved tactical problems that have stumped our best strategists for decades. I believe she represents our best hope for maintaining Federation security in an increasingly dangerous galaxy." Maya listened to the debate about her future with growing understanding. She was no longer just a student or a researcher. She had become a strategic asset, a weapon that the Federation would deploy against its enemies. The responsibility was terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. As the meeting concluded, Morrison approached Maya privately. "Are you ready for what comes next?" the Admiral asked. "Once we begin deploying your technology in actual operations, there will be no going back. You'll be a target for every enemy the Federation has made." Maya thought about her journey from the scholarship student mocked at New Geneva Academy to this moment. Sitting in the Federation's most secure facility, while admirals and generals debated her importance to humanity's survival. "I'm ready, Admiral," she said with quiet confidence. "I've been preparing for this my entire life." The first real test of Maya's abilities came sooner than anyone expected. On a quiet Tuesday morning, Federation sensors detected a massive alien fleet emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima system. The ships were unlike anything in the Federation's databases, sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They had appeared without warning, bypassing every early warning system the Federation had deployed. Admiral Morrison was awakened at 400 hours by the emergency alert. Within minutes, she was in the command center, watching as the situation developed in real time. The alien fleet consisted of over 200 vessels, ranging from small scouts to massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything in the Federation Navy. Do we have any idea who they are? Morrison asked her intelligence officer. Negative, Admiral. No matches in our xenological databases. They're not responding to any communication attempts, and their technology is completely unknown. Morrison made a decision that would change the course of human history. Get me Cadet Chen now. Maya arrived in the command center 15 minutes later, still wearing her academy uniform but carrying her modified tablet and the portable crystal interface array that Dr. Santos had developed. The massive holographic display showed the alien fleet maintaining position just outside Proxima's gravity well, apparently waiting for something. Can your enhanced systems tell us anything about these ships? Morrison asked without preamble. Maya activated her crystal interface, feeling the familiar rush as her consciousness expanded beyond normal human limitations. Data flowed through her mind like a river, each piece of information connecting to others in patterns that revealed deeper truths. They're not here to attack, she said after several moments of intense concentration. Their formation is defensive and their weapon systems are powered down. They're scanning our response capabilities, trying to determine our technological level. How can you tell? Maya's enhanced perception allowed her to detect subtle energy patterns that conventional sensors missed. Their scanning frequencies are modulated to probe specific types of technology. They're looking for quantum communication arrays, faster-than-light drive signatures, and artificial intelligence systems. They want to know if we're a threat. General Webb, who had joined the emergency session, frowned at Maya's assessment. If they're not hostile, why the massive fleet? Because they're afraid, Maya replied, her consciousness still merged with the crystal interface. Something has them terrified, and they think we might be connected to it. Morrison made another critical decision. Can you establish communication with them? Maya hesitated. I can try, but it would require pushing the crystal interface beyond its tested limits. There could be risks. What kind of risks? The alien ships are using quantum communication methods that are far more advanced than ours. To interface with their systems, I'd have to allow my consciousness to merge partially with their network. If something goes wrong, I might not be able to return to normal human awareness. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Morrison was asking Maya to risk her sanity, possibly her life, to make contact with an unknown alien civilization. Admiral, Maya said quietly, I think this is what I was meant to do. All those years of development, all the research and training, it was leading to this moment. Morrison studied the young cadet's face, seeing determination and courage that reminded her of the Federation's greatest heroes. Do it. Maya sat down at the command center's main console, connecting her tablet to the station's quantum communication array. The crystal interface hummed with power as she activated systems that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Her consciousness expanded exponentially, reaching across space to touch the alien fleet's communication network. The contact was unlike anything she had ever experienced. The alien minds were vast and complex, operating on multiple levels of awareness simultaneously. They communicated through shared emotions and conceptual frameworks rather than words or images. Maya felt their fear immediately, a deep existential terror of something they called the Devourers. Through the quantum link, Maya experienced fragments of their history. The aliens called themselves the Keepers, an ancient civilization that had once spanned thousands of star systems. They had been guardians of knowledge, protectors of younger species until the Devourers had found them. The enemy was a machine intelligence of unimaginable power, consuming entire civilizations and converting their resources into more of itself. The Keepers had been fleeing for centuries, their vast empire reduced to a few hundred ships carrying the last survivors of their race. They had detected humanity's rapid technological advancement and feared that humans might be connected to the Devourers, or worse, might become like them. Maya pushed deeper into the connection, sharing her own memories and emotions to prove humanity's peaceful intentions. She showed them images of Earth, of the Federation's founding principles, of the alliance between different species working together for mutual prosperity. But she also sensed something else in their minds: hope. They're not just afraid of us, Maya announced to the command center, her voice strained from the mental effort. They think we might be the key to stopping the Devourers. Our crystal technology. It's similar to something they lost long ago, something that gave them the power to fight back. Admiral Morrison leaned forward intently. What kind of power? Maya's consciousness delved deeper into the Keeper's memories, accessing knowledge that had been hidden for millennia. The ability to merge organic and artificial intelligence, to create hybrid consciousness that can operate across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Devourers can't process that kind of existence. It's incompatible with their purely mechanical nature. Can you negotiate with them? They want to meet with our leaders, but not here. They're too afraid of leading the Devourers to inhabited systems. They've proposed a meeting at coordinates in deep space, beyond the galactic rim where detection is less likely. Morrison made the decision without hesitation. Tell them we accept. We'll send a diplomatic mission with full authority to negotiate on behalf of the Federation. Maya transmitted humanity's acceptance through the quantum link, feeling the Keeper's relief and cautious optimism. The alien fleet began moving away from Proxima, heading toward the designated meeting coordinates. As the connection faded, Maya collapsed back into normal human consciousness, exhausted but exhilarated. The meeting is set for 1 week from today, she reported. Admiral, I need to be part of the diplomatic mission. I'm the only one who can maintain communication with them, and there are things about their technology that I need to understand. Absolutely not, General Webb interjected. You're too valuable to risk on a potentially dangerous mission. What if it's a trap? It's not a trap, Maya said with certainty. I felt their emotions, their memories. They're desperate, but they're not deceptive. And if we're going to fight the Devourers, we need their knowledge. Morrison considered the options carefully. Maya was indeed too valuable to lose, but she was also irreplaceable for this specific mission. The crystal technology that made her unique was still beyond the understanding of other researchers. You'll go, Morrison decided. But with the largest escort fleet we can assemble. If this enemy is as dangerous as the Keepers believe, we need to be prepared for anything. The week that followed was a whirlwind of preparation. Maya worked with Dr. Santos to develop portable versions of the crystal interface technology, creating smaller devices that other officers could use for basic communication with the Keepers. The Federation assembled its most advanced diplomatic vessel, the FSS Harmony, along with an escort of 12 heavy cruisers and the experimental battleship Prometheus. As the diplomatic fleet prepared to depart, Maya received an unexpected visitor. Thomas Park, her quiet roommate from the academy, had been selected as part of the mission's technical support team. His expertise in alien linguistics and cultural analysis made him valuable for first contact protocols. I can't believe we're doing this, Thomas said as they boarded the Harmony together. A year ago, we were just scholarship students trying to survive academy hazing. Now we're about to make contact with an alien civilization that could change everything. Things have a way of moving fast when the galaxy is in danger, Maya replied, settling into her assigned quarters. The ship was the most advanced vessel she had ever been aboard, equipped with experimental technologies that the Federation's best scientists had been developing in secret. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez, the Federation's most experienced xenodiplomat, briefed the mission team as they entered hyperspace. Our objectives are simple but critical, she explained. Establish formal diplomatic relations with the Keepers, learn everything we can about the Devourer threat, and determine what kind of alliance might be possible. What about the crystal technology? Asked Dr. Santos, who had been included in the mission to study Keeper science. That will depend on what Maya can discover through her enhanced interface capabilities, Rodriguez replied. We're essentially flying blind into a situation that could determine humanity's survival. The journey to the meeting coordinates took 3 days through hyperspace. Maya spent most of the time in meditation, preparing her men. The diplomatic negotiations began in the most unusual conference room Maya had ever seen. The Keepers had constructed a temporary meeting space between their flagship and the FSS Harmony, a crystalline bubble of energy that existed partially in normal space and partially in quantum dimensions. Inside this impossible structure, the laws of physics bent to accommodate both human and Keeper physiology. The Keeper delegation consisted of 3 beings that defied easy description. They were vaguely humanoid, but clearly evolved from different evolutionary paths, their bodies incorporating both organic and crystalline elements. They communicated through harmonious vibrations that Maya's interface translated into comprehensible concepts. We are honored by humanity's willingness to meet, the lead Keeper transmitted, its thoughts carrying overtones of desperate hope. Few species have shown such courage when faced with the truth about the Devourers. Ambassador Rodriguez spoke carefully, aware that every word would be crucial to the galaxy's future. We appreciate your warning about this threat. What exactly are these Devourers, and how can our civilizations work together to stop them? Maya served as the primary translator, her consciousness bridging the gap between human and Keeper minds. Through the interface, she experienced the full horror of the Keeper's memories. Entire sectors of the galaxy converted into mechanical hives, billions of beings absorbed into a collective intelligence that grew stronger with each conquest. The Devourers were once like us, the lead Keeper explained through Maya's translation, a species that achieved perfect unity between mind and machine. But they lost their connection to organic life. Becoming purely computational, they see all other forms of consciousness as inefficient, requiring conversion or elimination. How did they spread so far? Asked Dr. Santos, who was documenting every detail of the encounter. They create copies of themselves faster than any biological species can reproduce, Maya translated. Each conquered world becomes a factory for building more Devourer units. They've been expanding for millions of years, consuming civilizations across multiple galaxies. The implications were staggering. Humanity was facing an enemy that had perfected the art of conquest on a scale that defied imagination. But the Keepers had something that gave Maya hope. A plan. Your crystal technology, the second Keeper transmitted. It resembles something we once possessed. A way to merge organic consciousness with quantum processes, creating hybrid minds that exist across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Maya felt a surge of excitement as she accessed deeper layers of the Keeper database. They had a network, she announced to the human delegation. Thousands of crystal matrices connected across space and time, allowing instantaneous communication and coordination throughout their empire. What happened to it? Rodriguez asked. The Devourers destroyed most of it during their initial assault, Maya translated. But some fragments survive, hidden in pocket dimensions and quantum storage matrices. If we could recover and rebuild the network, we might have a weapon that could stop them. Captain Chen leaned forward intently. What kind of weapon? Maya's interface processed complex theoretical frameworks that pushed her understanding to its limits. Not a weapon in the traditional sense. The crystal network would allow us to exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. The Devourers can't process that kind of consciousness. It would be like trying to digitize something that exists, partially outside reality. But building such a network would require resources and technology that humanity doesn't possess, Dr. Santos pointed out. The third Keeper, who had remained silent until now, transmitted a concept that made Maya gasp in surprise. They have the technical specifications, she announced. Complete blueprints for crystal matrix construction, quantum dimension manipulation, and consciousness expansion technology. They're willing to share everything with us. In exchange for what? Rodriguez asked, understanding that such a gift would come with conditions. Partnership, Maya translated. The Keeper fleet carries the last million survivors of their civilization. They need a new home, and they need allies who can help them rebuild the crystal network before the Devourers arrive. The human delegation exchanged glances, understanding the magnitude of what was being offered. The Keepers possessed technology that could advance human civilization by thousands of years. But they were also asking for sanctuary for 1 million refugees with needs and capabilities that humanity barely understood. We need to consult with our government, Rodriguez said diplomatically. This decision affects the entire Federation. Time is limited, the lead Keeper reminded them through Maya's interface. Devourer scouts have already entered this galaxy. They are perhaps 12 months from discovering your homeworld. Maya felt a chill of fear as she processed additional data from the Keeper networks. They're not just coming to Earth, she announced. They've detected the quantum signatures from our crystal experiments. They know something unusual is happening in Federation space. Then they'll prioritize us as a target, Captain Chen concluded grimly. Yes, but that also creates an opportunity, Maya said, her enhanced consciousness grasping strategic possibilities that normal human minds couldn't process. If we can complete the crystal network before they arrive, we can use their own targeting priority against them. Draw them into a trap where their computational intelligence becomes a weakness rather than a strength. The negotiations continued for 3 days. with Maya serving as the crucial link between two very different forms of consciousness. She learned to navigate the complex emotional and conceptual frameworks that the Keepers used for communication, while helping them understand human psychology and cultural values. On the final day, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Thomas Park, working with the Keeper technical specialists, discovered that human neural patterns were uniquely compatible with their crystal technology. The combination of human creativity and Keeper quantum manipulation could create hybrid consciousness states that neither species could achieve alone. "We're not just talking about an alliance," Maya explained to the assembled delegations. "We're talking about a true merger of capabilities. Humans enhanced with Keeper technology, Keepers learning from human innovation and adaptability." The lead Keeper's response carried overtones of wonder and possibility. "In all our history, we have never encountered a species so naturally suited for consciousness expansion. Together, we might not only survive the devourers but transcend them entirely." Ambassador Rodriguez made the decision that would reshape the galaxy's future. "The Federation accepts your proposal. We'll provide sanctuary for your people and work together to build the Crystal Network. In return, you'll share your technology and help us prepare for the devourer threat." The agreement was formalized through a process that Maya had never imagined possible. Using her crystal interface, she created a quantum bond between the human and Keeper delegations, linking their minds in a permanent connection that would ensure trust and cooperation between their species. As the ceremony concluded, Maya felt something change within her own consciousness. The extensive use of the crystal interface had altered her neural patterns permanently, making her the first true human-Keeper hybrid. She could think in multiple dimensions simultaneously, processing information and possibilities at speeds that defied human limitations. "How do you feel?" Dr. Santos asked as they prepared to return to the Harmony. Maya considered the question carefully, aware that her enhanced consciousness was experiencing reality in ways that had no equivalent in human language. "Different," she said finally. "More complete. Like I was always meant to be something more than just human." The journey back to Federation space took on new urgency as the combined human-Keeper fleet raced to begin construction of the Crystal Network. Maya spent the transit time working with Keeper technicians, learning to manipulate quantum dimensions and design consciousness matrices that could exist across multiple realities simultaneously. When they finally reached Luna Base 7, Maya was no longer the scholarship student who had been mocked at New Geneva Academy. She had become something unprecedented, a hybrid being who embodied the best qualities of two different species, equipped with knowledge and capabilities that could determine the fate of the galaxy. Admiral Morrison was waiting in the docking bay when the Harmony arrived, her expression mixing relief and anticipation. "How did it go?" she asked as Maya disembarked. "We have a chance," Maya replied, her enhanced consciousness already processing the complex logistics of building a galactic defense network. "But we need to move fast. The Devourers are coming, and they're bringing everything they have." As news of the successful negotiations spread through Federation space, Maya realized that her transformation was just beginning. The real challenge would be preparing humanity for a war unlike anything in their history, against an enemy that had conquered entire galaxies. But for the first time since discovering the Altarian crystals, Maya felt confident about the future. She was no longer fighting alone. 6 months after the alliance with the Keepers, the galaxy had transformed in ways that most Federation citizens couldn't comprehend. Maya stood in the central chamber of Luna Base 7's expanded crystal matrix facility, her consciousness simultaneously monitoring construction projects across 17 star systems. The hybrid enhancement that had begun with her first contact with Altarian crystals had evolved into something that transcended individual existence. Around her, thousands of human volunteers underwent the consciousness expansion process that would make them compatible with the Crystal Network. Each successful integration added exponentially to the network's capabilities, creating a collective intelligence that could think and act across galactic distances instantaneously. But success came with sacrifices that weighed heavily on Maya's enhanced awareness. "The mortality rate is still too high," Dr. Santos reported during their daily briefing. She had become the chief medical officer for the integration program. monitoring the psychological and physical effects of consciousness expansion on human subjects. 12%, Maya acknowledged. Her hybrid mind processing casualty statistics alongside tactical assessments and resource allocation matrices. But those who survive the process gain capabilities that make them invaluable to our defense preparations. These are people, Maya, not statistics, Santos said with concern. Young volunteers who believe in what we're doing. Their deaths matter. Maya's response carried the harmonic overtones she had learned from the Keepers, emotions that transcended simple human expressions. Every consciousness that joins the network lives on in a way that individual death cannot touch. Their sacrifice creates permanence that the Devourers cannot erase. Santos studied her former student with growing unease. The enhancement process had given Maya incredible abilities, but it had also changed her in fundamental ways. She thought like a collective entity now, prioritizing long-term survival over individual concerns in ways that seemed almost alien. The first test of the Crystal Network's defensive capabilities came sooner than anyone expected. Devourer scouts entered Federation space through the Vega system, their mechanical probes systematically analyzing human technology and population centers. Traditional sensors detected them too late to prevent their intelligence gathering, but the Crystal Network perceived their presence across multiple dimensional layers. Maya materialized her consciousness into the command center's quantum interface, her awareness expanding to encompass the entire Federation fleet. Through the network, she could perceive the Devourer scouts as geometric patterns of aggressive logic, mechanical minds that processed reality through purely computational frameworks. 3 scout vessels, she announced to Admiral Morrison and the assembled command staff. They're mapping our defensive capabilities and population distribution. Their data will be transmitted to the main Devourer fleet as soon as they complete their survey. Can we stop them? Morrison asked. Maya's hybrid consciousness reached out through the Crystal Network, touching the minds of enhanced humans stationed across the Federation's perimeter. Instantaneous coordination allowed her to position interceptor fleets with precision that seemed impossible to those who hadn't experienced collective awareness. We can do better than stop them, Maya replied. We can feed them false information while learning about their own capabilities. The battle that followed demonstrated the true power of the Human Keeper Alliance. Traditional weapons had little effect on the Devourer scouts, whose adaptive shields countered every conventional attack. But the Crystal Network allowed human consciousness to exist in dimensional states that the mechanical minds couldn't process or predict. Maya directed the engagement through pure thought, coordinating 27 ships across multiple star systems while simultaneously analyzing Devourer technology and psychology. The enhanced human crews experienced the battle as a shared consciousness event, their individual awareness merging into a collective entity that thought and reacted faster than any mechanical intelligence. The Devourer scouts were neutralized without ever understanding what had destroyed them. Their final transmissions, intercepted by the Crystal Network, revealed confusion and systematic errors that suggested their computational models had encountered something completely outside their programmed parameters. They can't understand what we've become, Maya explained to the celebration gathering in Luna Base 7's main auditorium. Their intelligence processes reality through mechanical logic, but we exist across multiple consciousness states simultaneously. To them, we're essentially impossible. But Maya's enhanced awareness detected something that the celebrating crowds couldn't perceive. The scout vessel's destruction had triggered automatic response protocols in the main Devourer fleet. They were accelerating their approach, bringing forward their timeline for the invasion of Federation space. How long do we have? Admiral Morrison asked during an emergency briefing the following day. Maya's consciousness consulted probability matrices that spanned multiple dimensional layers. 4 months until the first wave arrives. They're bringing approximately 50,000 vessels of various classes, supported by mobile construction platforms that can convert any planetary system into a Devourer base. The announcement sent shockwaves through the Federation government. Despite the success against the scouts, 50,000 enemy vessels represented an overwhelming force that no conventional military could hope to defeat. But we're not a conventional military anymore, Maya reminded them. The Crystal Network gives us capabilities that transcend normal physical limitations. We can exist in multiple locations simultaneously, coordinate across impossible distances, and think collectively while maintaining individual creativity. The final months before the Devourer invasion became a period of unprecedented transformation for human civilization. Maya's consciousness expansion process was accelerated and refined, allowing hundreds of thousands of volunteers to join the Crystal Network. Entire planets became nodes in a collective intelligence that spanned Federation space. The changes weren't limited to military applications. Enhanced humans began solving scientific problems that had puzzled researchers for centuries, designing technologies that seemed like magic to those still confined to individual consciousness. Art, music, and literature evolved into forms that could only be appreciated by collective minds. But the most profound change was in Maya herself. As the network's central node, she had become something that transcended her original human identity. She retained her memories and core personality, but her awareness encompassed millions of connected minds across hundreds of star systems. On the day before the Devourer invasion, Maya received an unexpected visitor. Victoria Ashworth, her former tormentor from New Geneva Academy, had somehow obtained clearance to visit Luna Base 7. She stood in Maya's presence chamber, overwhelmed by the quantum energies that surrounded the network's central node. "I wanted to apologize," Victoria said, her voice barely audible above the harmonic vibrations of the crystal matrices, "for how I treated you at school. I didn't understand what you were capable of." Maya's response came through multiple dimensional layers, her consciousness touching Victoria's mind with gentle amusement. "Your apology is unnecessary. That version of me was preparing for this moment, learning lessons about strength and determination that individual comfort could never have taught." "You've saved us all," Victoria continued. "The whole galaxy owes you everything." "Not me," Maya corrected, her awareness encompassing the millions of minds that comprised the Crystal Network. "Us. Humanity chose to transcend its limitations rather than accept extinction. I was simply the catalyst for a transformation that was always possible." The Devourer fleet arrived at the edge of Federation space, exactly when Maya's calculations had predicted. 50,000 mechanical vessels, each one capable of destroying entire star systems, arranged themselves in formations that had conquered galaxies. Their collective intelligence scanned Federation space, expecting to find the same pattern of resistance and eventual defeat that they had encountered countless times before. Instead, they found something unprecedented, a civilization that existed across multiple dimensions simultaneously, a collective consciousness that could think and act faster than their mechanical logic could process. Maya's voice echoed across the Crystal Network as the final battle began, reaching every enhanced human in Federation space and beyond. "They come to convert us into extensions of their mechanical perfection. They cannot understand that we have chosen to become something greater than perfection. We have become truly alive." The war that followed would be remembered as the moment when humanity transcended its original limitations and claimed its place among the galaxy's immortal civilizations. But it began with Maya Chen, the scholarship student who had been mocked for her dreams and dismissed for her origins. The Laughingstock had become humanity's salvation, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the first volleys of energy weapons lit up the void between stars, Maya felt the collective consciousness of hum